Hello friends, starting soon an unmissable live coverage here on Sailor Today TV.
I'm Captain Pradhan, and today our master, Capt, unfortunately could not be here in this meeting with us. But as you can see, CMMI is taking the strides. Singing.
The host will have to mute all, sir.
In the earlier days, we used to forcefully mute everybody. Like the host is to mute people. But I don't think it is necessary now, because now everybody knows what we are doing and everybody knows the implications. And so we should not be imposing those things now. We all are, I would say, experts in handling Zoom now. So unless somebody wants to sing, please welcome. Okay, I muted him now. Okay, so what I was saying, CMMI has really taken big strides in the last few months, and we have Captain Basin, who's traveling, but he's still amongst us. He's joining us on his mobile. As you know, we had a very grand function just last week. We had our annual CMMI dinner. Unfortunately, we could not invite all the people because of the COVID restrictions. Restrictions are, we still have, COVID has not gone anywhere. The thinking has changed, the mentality has changed. The masks are probably, people think they're not so important, but restrictions are still there and we have to be careful. We can't afford to, just feel that everything is okay. Well, having said that, we had a very grand awards function, which was extremely well handled by our others. Jolly. Okay, I muted him. So with that, we have this first seminar, first webinar, rather, what we call. Very soon, we would like to have our physical seminars. And as it has been the trend now, we will have hybrid sessions. That means a physical seminar as well as, it will be transmitted live. And we'll see how we can organize an event where everybody can participate. So, because most of the events are happening in Mumbai, and I would request our, chapter chairman Rajesh is here, Captain Sareen is here. Please organize events locally in Cochin, Delhi. I would also want our other chapters to organize it. Now that we are all online, whenever you organize anything, we'll all be there and participate wholeheartedly in your events. So, after all,
sir, you got the link?
Okay, I have to mute our Sekhar as well. Okay, muted him. So everybody has been muted now. CMMI is one. It's not that Mumbai or Goa or
Are you coming in, sir? Are you coming in, sir?
Shashi.
No. Are you?
I muted you again. Please do organize events and make CMMI more, spread the awareness. When you have something in Delhi, you will have another 20 people attending from Delhi. When you have an event in Cochin, you will have another 20 people attending in Cochin. And people from Mumbai, we always there, we always attend. So with that, I must thank Captain Dr. Suresh Bharadwaj, who has really, increased the presence of CMMI in the southern part of India. Thank you very much, Dr. Bharadwaj, for that. With that, I hand over the proceeds to our CEO, Captain Shashi Kumar. Please take over from here. Shashi, are you still on the phone? Captain Shashi Kumar, please take over.
Yeah, Pradhan sir, if you can just send the new link to Master. In the meanwhile, I will. First thing is. Hello. I would request everybody to kindly mute.
Captain Pradhan sir, if you can make some co-hosts, we can help you with the muting part.
Okay, I will do that. I'm just sending this link to Captain Jha, the master. Okay, link has been sent.
That's right. I'll just call him up, sir.
Fine. Okay, who's to be muted? Gyanendra, you're the co-host now.
Please send the new link to Master and tell Master to join. I'm going
Already
to continue.
sent.
Okay?
Already sent on
Yeah.
his WhatsApp.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So can I thank you very much. And I would like to once again say thank all of you to taking your time off to join today as we talk about entrepreneurship by mariners for advocating technology towards market. I would also like to inform all of you that we have a chat box to source your questions.
Yeah,
Feel
I will
free
have to interrupt them and tell them.
to drop. Almida, can you please mute your thing, please?
Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah, drop questions in the chat and we can share your experience. We will answer your questions during the Q&A session. Allow me to welcome the entrepreneurs. One is Captain DC Sekhar. Sekhar, sir, if you can just raise your hand or something like that. Yes, thank you, sir. He is a fellow CMMI member, founder of Alpha MERS Limited. Thank you very much, sir.
Captain Sasikumar, this is an urgent call by Almeida. Can you please pause? I repeat, Captain Sasikumar, please pause.
Yeah, just hold on. Yeah, I'm calling back.
There is an urgency here, please.
Jaslin, what happened?
A master and 24 other members are in another meeting somehow with the same link. So there seems to be an error somewhere.
There was a link sent earlier, but that was had a limitation of 40 minutes. So a new link was sent on everybody's email. Let everyone check the email and they'll find the link over there. It's
Okay,
also on CMMI.
The group accordingly.
It is also on CMMI WhatsApp group.
Roger, sir. We'll inform accordingly. Thank you.
Thanks, Jaslin.
Thank you, Sasikumar, sir.
Shashi, you're muted.
Thank you, Captain Sekhar. And now I would like to introduce Captain Nikunj Parashar. Can you just raise your hand, sir? Can I see you, sir?
Unmute, sir. Hi, sir. This is Nikunj.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Parashar. I think Master, I'm not able to get Master on the line today. I think he may join in. It doesn't matter. I would like to invite Captain Sarin, who is the chapter chairman of Delhi, to introduce the topic, the panelist, and also moderate the session today. Captain Sarin, sir, please take over.
Good evening, everybody. A warm welcome to all of you from the team at CMMI at this uniquely titled webinar on the topic, Entrepreneurship by Mariners for Advocating Technology Towards Market. This webinar is unique because it's the first time we have two master mariners who are doing things differently. It's my proud privilege to welcome Captain DC Sekhar and Captain Nikunj Parashar to our webinar today. Both Captain Sekhar and Captain Nikunj have gone into uncharted waters and navigated into areas where no master mariners have ever ventured before. They both have dared to dream. And do they dream big? Oh boy. They both are disruptors of our industry. Innovation is their mantra, and changing the mindset is what they have set out to do by inspiring the Generation Y of mariners to think beyond the realm of imagination. May we have a round of applause for both of them.
Somehow the applause doesn't work when everybody is muted.
The thoughts are there. Captain Sekhar, he's a fellow of CMMI. He's captained large oil tankers before he hung up his boots for a short stint as superintendent in 2004. He then completed finance management at Singapore and executive general management at IIM Bengaluru. He set up Alpha MERS Limited, an Indian bootstrapped SME that took the unusual and the difficult path to invest in R&D year after year and develop indigenous technologies. Today, he has developed solutions to clean rivers and lakes, harness ocean wave energy, maritime perimeter security systems, and many other technologies, all of which he is going to be shortly talking about. The river cleanup solutions developed by him is deployed in 8 Indian rivers and has stopped about 2,200 tons of plastic from reaching the seas in one river in 2018 alone. His firm won the MSME Innovation Excellence Award year after year from the national trade body ASSOCHAM from 2015 to 2018. He also heads another company, Beta Tank Robotics, that has designed and prototyped hydraulic robots to clean crude oil tanks, bottom sludge in oil tank farms, and retail petrol pump tanks. Prior to pivoting around to innovation, he has carried out marine environment impact assessment of coastal nuclear power plants and offshore desalination plants. He's also carried out techno-commercial feasibility studies for the government on subjects of yacht marinas, cruise shipping, inland waterways, seaplanes, and offshore logistics. He's the India member on the Council of International Spill Control Organization, and he has some strong views on innovation ecosystem, and is a passionate believer in India's ability to develop its own indigenous technologies. Capt. Nikunj Parashar is also a well-deserved leader and the proficient founder of Sagar Defense Engineering Private Limited, which has been recognized by the Ministry of Electronics as the 10 best startup in the country. I will talk more about Capt. Nikunj Parashar after the presentation by Captain DC Sekhar. Captain DC Sekhar, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. And, thanks to CMMI. I was very honored to receive the fellowship few weeks back. And thanks for calling me to talk. Thanks for calling me to talk. It will be a pleasure to talk to all of you about the technology that we have developed. I think of all the audiences that I have addressed, this is an audience that can truly understand the challenges I would have faced and what we have achieved, what we have tried to do. So it's going to be very interesting for me as well. So in the next 20 minutes, I'd like to show you what we have done. I have got a couple of minutes of a video and then a couple of slides where I can discuss further. So shall I go ahead with the video first?
Yes, sir. Please do.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see this now, my screen.
Not yet coming, sir. It's come now.
Recording
Okay,
stopped.
fine.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Now, Chennai happens to be one city in the world today that is not really putting plastics out there into the sea, because both Adyar and Kuvam, they have got this simple, very simple barriers, very cost effective. These are the barriers at the back. And this is what we collect in a city. So it doesn't use any fuel, boats. It stops it and brings it to the riverbank, where at a low cost, you can use riverbank-based equipment to remove the trash. It's been at work for many years. Now, this is a drone view. And I'll just pause for a second to explain to you. So what this does is when the water flows, it hits the barrier and it slides along the barrier towards the downstream end of it. And there's a small little trench over there. It will go inside and stop there. And from where every morning the people come and they can clean it up. This is Musi River in Hyderabad. This is Chennai. The downstream looks clean. It cleans up the surface. The quality of water doesn't change. This is Puducherry. Whatever we've done usually shows up in Google Earth very soon. These are all the various cities and various places that we have deployed. This is when the monsoon starts. This is how it looks. It's all about the drag force, designing for a maximum drag. That's the key of something like this. we normally try to make the design as simple as possible. Now, this is an oil spill boom. You must be more familiar with this spill booms. So we made a single point inflation, very heavy duty boom. This is one of the latest generation, but there will be few people like us around the world, maybe half a dozen people. So I will not call this a very unique thing, but we made it right here and it works beautifully with 3D printed parts. This is it being put to test on one of the ports. Now, this is the ocean wave energy device being tested in an indoor wave pool at IIT Madras. It has gone on to, this has got another unit at the inside at the bottom that is sitting on the bottom. So you have a floating unit and a seabed unit, and together they work to harness energy out of the waves. This is a water jet propelled craft that we have made. Two of them together, we pull a boom so that you can clean up the surface of a lake. Water jet propelled because you don't want the marine biota, floating biota to follow the propellers. So water jet works well for that. And all this is hauled to one part of the lake where it is picked up by a JCB standing on the side of the lake. A lake like this, normally we would clean it up in a day's time. Right, that's a short video, and I will take you to some slides where I can talk a little bit more about these things. Okay, there we are. Now, this is what it looks like from a drone. The flow of the water is from the bottom left to the top right. As the trash hits the barrier.
So your screen sharing has not come up. I can only see the previous video.
I see. I'll just stop and reshare again.
Share and share again.
Yes. Now it's visible?
Okay, now.
Yeah.
Okay. So this we normally like to make it as simple as possible, anything that we design. And this is not a complicated design, simple, but with excellent hydrostatics, excellent hydrodynamics. So even in the monsoon flow, this will stand, it is not going to collapse. And one of the things we did differently from rest of the world is we went for steel mesh. It's a very unconventional approach, and then it's not, doesn't look very neat. But rest of the world, including the Western world, they went in for something like oil booms that has got a very high drag force, and so it collapses. So this is something we figured out very early in our time, and now they're all coming around to this kind of designs. So from the bottom left to the top right, the water flows, and all the trash, it slowly slides and comes into that little trench where the vehicles come in the morning, they take it away. Boats can cross this. How we do that? We do it in two parts. It is staggered. The trash goes straight and gets strapped, whereas the boats will zigzag past the two sections. And now, this is something we started in 2016, and as we stand today, the NGT bench of Supreme Court has referred to this in a couple of their judgments. The principal scientific advisor reporting to the PMO, they have picked this up and they're encouraging this. They are talking about this and connecting us to people. So our principle over here is what we call shutting the taps before we start mopping the floor. That's one reason we didn't go into the ocean to start cleanup, because we said, let's first stop all the plastic that is going from the rivers into the ocean. And once we do that, then we can go in for the ocean clean. This is some more of those images. The bottom left image is quite clear. You can see how it comes and hits and keeps collecting on the downstream end. And as we do this, there's a lot of learning. You have rivers that is very wide in the monsoon and then becomes very thin in the summer. Strong flows, very shallow. So as we go along, we keep adapting our design for the various challenges. And trust me, every day I'm thankful for my background in the merchant navy, why I've understood currents and waves and streams. And So it comes naturally inside the head how to design for that. Now, this is another important problem that we have dealt with. At the lab level, we have tremendous success, and now we are doing a pilot project for this. Basically, the idea is a passive device that you put in a stream or a drain or anywhere where the bottom silt is collected inside this. And to be very candid, this is inspired by the toilet commode, you can say, where whatever falls goes into that hole, and something similar, we have got specialized pumps to remove it. So it's a passive device that keeps collecting the silt so it doesn't go across. Once you remove the surface trash and remove the bottom silt, then you are left with dirty water. That's a different problem, but you will not have flow problems anymore. Our idea is that we bring down the mechanical cost of removal of each ton. It will be definitely much cheaper than dredging. Now, this is, I can talk about this for an hour, but at the moment, I'll quickly go through in a couple of minutes. This is the wave energy device. This is, since it has got a part of it that is sitting on the seabed, we are forced to look for a floating crane and for a flat seabed. So now we are designing a completely floating model of the same thing. So you could tow it, wet tow it, you can assemble it on jetty, wet tow it to the site, anchor it and location. And if necessary, if there's a storm, you can always disconnect and bring it back, do those kind of things. As we speak, we are talking to two big corporate houses to put up a plant, an offshore power plant for 1 megawatt each. In one case, it is to harness the wave energy. In another case, it is to harness the tidal stream, the kinetic energy in the tidal stream. So it's an advanced stage of discussion, and well, God willing, we should be doing that. And once again, it will be one of the very few power plants like this in the world. Very kicked about it. One of the things that we are working on is a wave-powered boat. This wave-powered boat will be necessarily a small boat with a payload of about a ton for surveillance, security purposes, all those things. So it will be a very small boat with an extraordinary cruising range. So if you send it out for patrolling, it doesn't have to fall back for crew change and all those issues. It can stay on site and keep going, especially if it is the weather is not very smooth. If you don't have smooth glassy seas, very small threshold, it can keep generating power for itself. So this is right now we're in discussion with DRDO, and it's in an early stage. We have not yet started working on is a floating wind turbine. There are a couple of them around the world. We have a different concept of how that should be designed, and we are working. Given more time, I will discuss these details. It'll be very interesting to talk about the details of many of these things, but I'm just brushing past now. This is the robot for cleaning crude oil tank bottom sludge. Now, the ones in Europe, they are made quite big. So if you have heating coils, which most of such tanks will have, they can't pass underneath that. So our focus from the beginning, in fact, to share with you when I was discussing the scope of this, in my mind, there were two approaches I had. One, I said we will design it like a six-legged dog for it to cross the heating coils, or like a snake that goes from underneath. Finally, we ended up making something that goes underneath that, very compact, but it has got a pump on board, which is a very positive feature for us, because the models that are currently there in Europe, they've got a 10-meter long suction going inside without a pump being on the robot. So you understand, if you have a 10-meter long suction and high pour point oil, you are going to have a lot of downtime there. The suction keep getting choked up, you have to blow out again. This is the tandem sweeping, we named it. Two boats together, they clean up a lake. So this is the surface cleanup. We are in the oil spill response area, as I said. We are designing equipment. These are, I will not say it is very unique. There are few players around the world who are doing these things. And on the top left is what we call as a flex bath. Many of you would have seen in the ports. This is to pick up oil that is skimmed at sea. So bottom left, these are all booms made by us, heavy duty booms. So yeah. Now here is a maritime perimeter security system. Normally, when we get into a new technology, quite often it is triggered by a client who says, look, can you do something about this? In this case, there was a chief minister's house in front of a river, and his security called me and said, look, the land side, we know how to secure it. They always have so many gadgets and perimeter fencing, but on the water side, it's quite exposed. Can we do something? So we had our floating barriers, which is a light duty one, although it can withstand a lot of current, but it's still, I'll call it light duty for the river cleanup. We went ahead and designed a very heavy duty one that a boat can come, and when it hits, it will get damaged rather than allow it to go inside. The idea is like this. We have a lot of maritime perimeter security systems today, but they're all alert systems, mostly using acoustics. So you will get a warning 1 minute before the boat actually reaches you. So we said we have to delay like a fence. You have to delay the person, and then you have some response capability. So on the left is a scaled down prototype of a floating gate, and the right side is a floating security barrier. There is more advanced versions also we have, which can withstand very rough seas as well. So they, wherever it is used in a shipyard, you have a cruise ship, you have a warship, something calling on the port, you have deployed this, it's anchored at various places. And let me also tell you that unlike a wall, a truck hitting a wall, in this case is the boat, when it hits something like this, it will drag it and de-accelerate it over a few meters, dragging the bottom sinker anchors along with it. So it can take a lot of force. This is one of the, you can say, pastime innovations we did. This is a tethered unmanned craft that can take. Now, when you go to a place like Haridwar, or you go to a place where there's a strong river and there's a lot of ghat section, if there's somebody falls in the water, you cannot send out people to swim and then get him. So something like this, or the state disaster response force, they've taken it from us, that you send a first rope across a flooded stream without putting people on a boat. And this works on a scooter battery. It can go as far as you can see. And it is controlled totally by these two ropes. Okay, now I'm coming to a slightly different angle here. Too often, even in my own office, there were people who would say, sir, if it is so simple, there would be, somebody would have done it. So this was my favorite story to tell them, saying that now in the night sky, if somebody were to ask you, look at the sky and tell me the direction, I'm sure many of us would point towards the pole star, and maybe some of us recognize the stars, constellations, and things like that, which is not very easy, not very common. Now, the moon, crescent of the moon is telling us the direction at all times. We don't need to look at the almanac, whether it's a rising moon or setting moon. What I mean by that is, when you look at the moon like a crescent, it is not shaped like this, it's a ball. We all know that. Why is the ball lit from one direction by a torch? If you look at this, think about it carefully. This is like a torch coming from one direction and lighting up the moon from one direction. That's why the crescent looks like this. That's why the light is on that side of the moon. So if you look at it like this, now you probably get the point that the torch is nothing but the sun, which is under the horizon. You try it tonight. Have a look at the moon. The crescent of the moon is pointing to the sun at all times. So if I see this at 7 o'clock in the evening, this arrow or this crescent is telling me that the sun has gone down below the horizon at that point. And it is so easy. I mean, I must have told this to about 2,000 people, I think. And everybody got it within a few seconds. I mean, maybe within a half a minute. But nobody has remembered reading about it anywhere. So we could miss sometimes things that is around us, a simpler way of looking at things, a simpler way of solving problems, which probably has just missed us. Okay, that kind of brings me to the end of this presentation. So after some time, I would like to field the questions and be guided by your curiosity or the questions what you have. And I would like to hand over back to Captain Serene. Thank you so much for patiently listening.
Captain Serene, you're muted.
Thank you, Captain Sekhar, for the lovely presentation. And we'll sure be fielding you questions shortly after we've seen Captain Nikunj Parashar's presentation. So over to Captain Nikunj Parashar now. Well, he's done lots and lots of things which are totally innovative. He's a well-deserved leader and the proficient founder of Sagar Defense Engineering Private Limited, which has been recognized by the Ministry of Electronics as one of the 10 best startups in the country in the electronic style system design and manufacturing in the strategic electronic sector of unmanned vehicle systems. The company has been acquiring new heights with innovative approaches and strategies that are designed for success, and Captain Nikunj manages his team with a great zeal and utmost enthusiasm. He's done all his certificates of competencies from India. He's a holder of diploma in nautical technology from BITS Pilani. He's done various courses from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, Indian School of Business. He's presented technical papers at various international forums. And he holds a host of accolades from all over the world. I can just about count very few, but they're so huge in number. His accolades date back to the year 2015 onwards. So let me just name a very few of them. Jan 2022, he was awarded the prestigious NASCOM League of 10 top hypergrowth startup of the country. He was also awarded the prestigious National Startup Award by the Government of India. In September 2021, he was awarded the prestigious Dare to Dream 2.0 award by DRDO. Feb 2019, he was the winner of Surveillance Fixed VTOL category in the Drone Olympics hosted by Aero India 2019 show. Jan 18, he was selected by the Development Commissioner, Ministry of MSME, Government of India, to represent India at an international forum in Los Angeles, USA. December 17, he was the top 4 finalists of Global Clean Tech Innovation Program. June 17, he was a winner of the Disruptive Technology by IC2 Lab, University of Texas, Austin, USA. April 16, he was selected as the best maritime startup by Government of India and Shipping Ministry. October 2015, at the Entrepreneur Park as one of the top startups in ESDM sector. The list is endless. I can carry on and on and on. And it's amazing the work that Captain Nikunj is doing. Hats off to you, Captain Nikunj, and over to you. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, sir. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to speak to your own community. Nothing gives me more happiness when I'm talking about myself, my journey, and especially to fellow mariners. What I've reached here today is only due to the blessings of seniors like you all and support from the maritime community. So, sir, with your due permission, I'll start my slide sharing.
Please do so.
So, as I start across, there is a small video which is going across, and I'm sure a lot of mariners would not like it. I get both the views across. What we're going to see here is different types of unmanned surface vehicles across, built by us over the years. This is one of the swarming techs. Unfortunately, the DEF Expo has got cancelled. Probably we would have 10 different vehicles out there doing the show this time. So what we're trying to do at Sagar Defense is we are trying to build unmanned surface vehicles, not to take sailors off the boat, but actually improve the skill sets of our maritime community and get them ready for Industrial Revolution 4.0. But where this journey started off? This journey started off in my board exams where I failed in my board schools and basically in 10+2 when you want to join C. I was a brilliant student, top ranker in 10th standard, but in 12th I failed in physics, chemistry, maths. But that was the only failure which really pushed me strong and hard enough to be where I am today with my team. So yes, we nailed it. One thing I realized in life is failure is inevitable. And that's when I moved across and joined sea. And generally, that was a time when people used to say the black sheep of the family would go out at sea, but it was not so for me. My journey of joining sea was very tough. My story of joining sea was very tough. Had to go through a rigorous process of recruitment and finally doing 36 months out at sea, got my first ranks on the shoulders. While sailing through 14 years out at sea, I kept on learning, but still the desire was to be an engineer, which unfortunately, I couldn't pass my board exams. So when I cleared my master's, got my command on oil tankers and moved on, I asked my dad and my wife, could I quit sea? And question was because I come from a very conservative family, but then I had my master and my dad is an ex-naval officer. He said, Nikunj, why not? Go ahead and quit sea. So then with savings, along with my wife and two of my other friends, we started off Sagar Defense Engineering. And it looked all so beautiful because yes, as a master, I had a lot of money. And I would openly say close to 4 crores. You know, that was my saving along with my wife when I quit sea. And it looked all very beautiful. That this is it. I have the money. I have good friends along by me. And we are going to be successful. But what I did not realize, the entrepreneurship was not that simple. It was not that the bank balance which you have in your bank is going to help you to walk that tightrope. It is just not that team together is going to help you, you know, and look across of swallowing your pride and then compromising with an investor. At the same time, you need to juggle a lot of priorities. Now, this was something I was unprepared. When you work in a maritime environment on a ship, it's my way or the gangway. But when you start up your own startup and you get into this journey, you're again back into a cadetship. And this is where I realized that was I ready to take the leap of faith? So my wife had to quit me in between and she had to go back to her job and she started working in because somebody had to support the family. What I had decided to go was into unmanned autonomous systems. That means every trial I go out at sea, I spend close to 1 lakh to 3 lakh rupees per day. And it was taking in a lot of money in from our bank balances. So every day I was getting a depleting balance. And it was very tough. I had 2 kids. So how do I manage it? So since 2015 to 2017, we had 0 revenues, but we had a lot of awards. So is that all entrepreneurship is all about? Then I realized that it is just not an entrepreneurship, but you have an idea and start doing it. But do you have the right attitude to move ahead? Do you have the right team to create that creativity? So when we realized that, we formed a fantastic team. So the first office was out of 150 square feet room. And these are the actual pictures. Now, what I realized was unmanned systems were great, but I needed to make some money to keep us going. And by the end of 3rd year, I was down to just 10 lakh rupees in my bank. So with all my 3 co-founders, which you can see over there in picture, this was the room where we started operating in. So we had to come down to this place. And we realized the most low-hanging fruit, at times you need to pivot because you need to generate revenue. The most low-hanging fruit was drones. So we started working on drones. When we started working on drones, the reason was from pivoting from unmanned maritime systems to drone was because there was a sense of responsibility of getting revenue. There was a sense of responsibility in a way to understand how do we compensate towards the hard work we are doing in, because we can't continue like this. We are going to die down. And finally, yes, failure was imminent. So that was the biggest scare. But does that mean we back out? No, we did not. So our little bit of gamble helped us to move from a 150 square feet office to a 1200 square feet office. Imagine, मैं 12वीं पास हूं, मुझे नहीं समझ में आता ये इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड ये सॉफ्टवेयर क्या है. But then I started working onto it. And with the team, we went on very strong. So what we realized was, in the business cases, it's not necessary with what you have set off with, you may succeed in. The first lesson for us was, after burning more than 3.5 crores, was find out what the market needs. From 2013 to 2017, there was no need in the market for an unmanned surface vehicle here in India. We were working in. So our pivoting with drones really helped. So what it did was, it helped us started mingling with the entrepreneurship culture in the country. Drone was the new fad out there. There were a lot of drone startups in the country. There were very strong startups like IdeaForge. You would have been reading about them, who have made progress up to $40 to $50 million of contracts. There was a company called Listeria, which is Reliance backed. What we realized by 2018, we were the third largest drone manufacturing company, a very strong competitive company in the country in drone sector. We started making it. And this is where, as a master marina, I started also learning it. So I used to meet a lot of people at forums. I used to talk to them and see how they were scaling up. While we were doing this, and our road was setting up, COVID kicked in. Now, when COVID comes in, it's a very, and I love this picture. It says, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. And the reason to is, when COVID kicked in, everything stopped. And when you operate out of a 1200 square feet office with 19 people in that, sticking shoulder to shoulder, I'm sure COVID is going to come in. So for next 2.5 months, 19 of us were COVID positive. One was in a very serious condition. The whole operations was stopped. So out of necessity, we said, we need a larger place. Trust me, I had no idea that I was going to set up a factory with my team. Absolutely no idea. So I said, we need to have a larger place. But then we did not have that amount of money. तो वो कहते हैं कि ए बंदे खुद को कर बुलंद इतना कि खुदा भी तुमसे पूछे कि बता तेरी रजा क्या है. And it so happened that IDBI came across and they saw our technology and how capable we were. They invested in us. On the lines of Oil and Natural Gas Corporation of India. This was a period where I got paralyzed too. So once IDBI on board and we had a capex backup, and just to get rid of COVID, because we wanted free space to work so that people do not fall sick, we went out there and started looking for land, or basically a place on rent. So this was the place, that was a barren piece of land. These are the pictures when we were building it. And I had no idea how to build up a factory, nor my team. I was the oldest in the team at 41. And the next guy comes at the age of 28. And I was the only married guy. I'm the only married guy in the team. So I had no idea how to get it done. But there it is. So we started working in 2 months, 14 days. I proudly say that Sagar Defense Engineering built the country's first unmanned maritime system facility. It's a 25,000 square feet facility, dedicated electronics lab, dedicated software labs with a dedicated mechanical shop floor. Now, on my journey, what I realized was, from 150 square feet to a 25,000 square feet, at times things fall in place for you if you're smart enough and you're working very hard and you have the right people with you. And that's how our progress kept on. This would have not been possible if we were not supported with the right kind of people, with the right kind of team. So what really fell in place for us? Right from day one, when I lost all my fixed deposits in the bank, what we avoided was inefficiency. We avoided was poor management. We avoided was low work ethics. The most important word was failure to plan and prepare. At the same time, yes, at times we were poor money managers, which we are now, not now. So this was a journey through which we kept on learning every day. I had not done my chartered accountancy, so I did not know how to go out and ask millions. But today, in the journey, when things started falling in place with our hard work, with our smart work, I know. So you have to be a very good learner. You have to adapt as an entrepreneur from time and again, because world out there is not going to welcome you with open hand. There'll be people who are going to criticize you. Accept it. Move forward. Take it forward. And that's the journey on what Sagar Defense is built on. The other day, I realized, and this is very important in the startup culture, and especially for master mariners like us who quit sea and come back, there's always a scare because we have a certain amount of lifestyle. We live away, we earn a lot. And all of a sudden you say, I'm going to step out of it, out of my safe zone, out of my very powerful, strong zone, and start an organization. It's fine. Most important is the sailing experience, your command experience, your power to take decisions to save lives, your power to manage your cargo is what you need to do when you start up your own organization. And I feel master mariners can be one of the top entrepreneurs across in the country. And I know quite a lot of them. It's just not me and Sekhar sir, but there are quite a lot of master mariners who are doing amazing work in the entrepreneurship sector. So this is the question again, is people out there who really want to jump into entrepreneurship, do you have it in it? What does it take to be an entrepreneur? What it takes is the right amount of passion, a right attitude, a vision, a self-belief, and the most important in this is the right people. I started the journey with my wife, had to let go her off to run the family, and then my co-founders joined me. So you need those powerful people who are going to follow you like crazy madman out there. And that is one of the most important key to success. Single-handedly, you cannot do it. It's a teamwork. And as mariners, one thing we learn is the teamwork. We know how to run our ships. And I think that's the way you do it. So then, when we had the right combination, things started falling in place. I had the honor to meet the Honorable Prime Minister in 2019. And that's where Ministry of Defense gave us an opportunity to develop autonomous underwater vehicle. A master mariner proudly stating to develop the first autonomous underwater vehicle for the Indian Armed Forces. Just recently, we partnered with Mazgawdock Limited, who are funding the project. So opportunity is humongous. You should have the right set of visions. Well, I've been working in the maritime sector. The core tech, what we realized was we were just not a maritime company, but we were a robotics company. A company which could scale not only in the maritime sector, but also work in sectors like aviation and ground vehicle. And that's again part of a learning because you pivot. In business, every 2 years, you change your pivot. And that's have been a learning because you need to match up with the pace. What we also realized is you need to deviate into sector where there is less competition. Because where there is a less competition, you're going to make money. At the end, revenue is going to keep you afloat. No matter how good your idea is, without revenue, you are dead in water. Recently, we developed the unexploded ordnance handling robot, a project which is more than 1,200 crores in coming times over 5 years. I never imagined that at Sagar Defense Engineering, we would be building this. And things did fall in place for us. And there is a story about it and which I have a very firm belief, and I would like to share it here with everyone. When we look at, a bank locker in a bank, there are 2 keys to the locker. One key is always with you, the owner of the locker, and second is with the bank manager. So you can only open that locker if both the keys are together. In the same way, the locker of your life is somewhere upstairs. One key is in your hand and the other is in the hand of the God. This one key is 99% luck, which you don't know when God is going to put it into your life's locker. The only 1% key which you have in your hand is hard work. And I would say at Sagar Defense Engineering, we are very obsessed people. We believe in our core hard work, and that's what tells us that we are going to accelerate the world transition towards autonomous systems, because hard work is our obsession. To put across, entrepreneurship is a fantastic journey. I would say all mariners out there who really want to jump onto the bandwagon, and if you have an idea, please do it. It's never too late, even when you are 20 years old or you are at 60. That's all from my end. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Nikunj, for that brilliant presentation. It's been amazing to see the kind of work that you are doing. Fantastic is the word.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well, the floor is open for questions now, and both Captain Sekhar and Captain Nikunj would answer any questions which can be put up in the chat box. Please feel free to raise your questions. Yes, Captain Ginant Singh.
Sir, when Captain Sekhar was explaining, what came to my mind is with the presence of those floating barriers, how do the boats go across? I couldn't understand.
Okay, very simple. 10-second explanation. When the river flows, the barrier is not one straight barrier. You can see my hand. We stagger it, 2 halves. Okay. The boat will zigzag past. The trash will always come straight and get trapped. So wherever you have boat traffic, shall I repeat that? I hope you understood. This is a river. Instead of putting one barrier across, you have staggered 2 halves. The boat can zigzag past, trash will go past. Very simple. But you'll be amazed at how many people make such a complicated solution for a boat to pass in this kind of things. Trust me, in the Western world, they always overcapitalize even a bad idea.
Yes, reminds me a lot of stories. Anyways, I would, as of now, stop for others to question.
Yeah.
Well, I have another question. It says, can you describe the thought process and the approach to innovation?
Okay. Is it for me or Captain Parashar?
Anybody.
Yeah. Okay, I have few thoughts. Captain Nikunj, maybe I'll take the privilege of my senior age to go first.
Absolutely, sir. Old is always gold.
Okay, I had a few thoughts to share in this. See, often I have been asked, how many engineers do you have in a team? I'm a person who believes this innovation doesn't happen with a team. Though you work as a team to produce the results, but innovation is something that is deeply inside one person's head who is connecting all the dots. You can outsource a part of it. Okay, so you have a concept solution in your mind, and then you give it to the engineering who will put the nuts and bolts to it. I'll tell you psychology of it is like this. If you imagine you're on an x-axis, you're on 0. On the minus side, you have all the knowledge that you've gained from books, from movies, from your college, formulas, the theorems, everything that you know. And the plus side is something that you've never seen before. Maybe a child who imagines a phantom or a transformer, which he has not seen before. You're letting your mind wild to think what you have not been fed inside your mind. Now, to be a good innovator, you need to have the ability to switch between the 2 modes. You go on the plus side where you allow your mind to think crazy things. When I was in a meeting to discuss the robot I was mentioning, in my mind, I was thinking, should I make a 6-legged dog who can cross over the heating coils without falling? Or a snake that goes from underneath? Now, I'm not an engineer, but I know exactly what to get out of the engineering. So I take the concept solution. I have my AutoCAD and my SolidWorks guys who will be sitting and doing the drawings. And then they have engineers who will put the nuts and bolts to it, the scantlings, the sizes, and all those things. One more I like to share. Yeah, when you are designing something, it's like a distant peak. You don't know the exact route you are going to take to reach through the mountains there. But you know the route until the next peak. When you stand on that peak, when you reach over there, you know the route to the next one. Prototypes are like those peaks. It is a reference point in your mind. Today, if you tell me to design a rocket like what Captain Nikunj did, I cannot do it, but I know the end result. And we have to work. Each prototype, the reference in your mind changes. You're not referring to the movies and the books that you read about it. Now the prototypes comes to the mind to think further from there. Often we would get 60 to 70% right of what we imagined, and 30% of the learning would come after we make the prototype. So failure is a part of design development. And most of what is happening today is not invention, it is integration of different systems. That has to be done a little smartly. People like to put AI into everything. They like to put ML because it's got a lot of oomph value. A lot of you can get funding if you talk about AI and this and that, but not everywhere it is applicable. You have to see what you put over there, and the simplest is often the best. If you don't deliver on the basic deliverable of that, never mind how many AI and whatever you put, people don't buy it. And your best critic is the person who's paying you money. He doesn't mince words. There is a certain honesty in that relationship. It's like the horse and the grass. There is a certain honesty. The person who pays you the money tells it on your face, look, I have got value or I have not. So you need to get his applause to go further. And mind is one of the best design machines. Okay, thank you. I'll hand over to Captain Nikunj. He must be having a lot of valuable things to share. Please.
Absolutely well said, sir. I'll put it in the other way around. As an innovator, you need to daydream. And it's very important to daydream because you need to dream with your open eyes. When you start your journey and you really want to look forward to your journey, you don't know where you're going to reach. And that's a fact. So it's very important for you to daydream. Second is you need to believe in yourself. You need to put down what you're going to work towards it and what's your end goal. Most important part of a very good innovator is he should know when he has to say no and stop. Because no matter how good your idea is, possibly you're never going to succeed. So knowing when to stop is the most important fact. And this is something, it's not what I'm speaking here, but this is something we have learned from other people's also across the generations. If you listen to Mukesh Ambani speaking, he's going to say these words. You should know where you need to stop because you're going to lose money in the end. How are you going to salvage? Yes, people talk a lot about passion, but you have to be practical. The other part is, and they say it in a very layman term, is that the 2 saal dhande mein aap tig gaye, to aap reh gaye. So taking out the first 2 years is the most important part. It's a startup world. It's a startup buzzword. As he said, AI and ML. But yes, if you're working on those sectors, it's not that money is freely available. It's a FOMO, fear of missing out. So depending in which category of sector you're working in, and if that trend is there in the market, yes, you may make a lot of money. I have friends who have raised more than $20 to $30 million already. They have friends who have been doing excellent work, but they have not raised a single penny. Where we are speaking in, it depends. In 2015, we had the Quest Corp coming across to us to give investment to us, and that was the time when we backed out and said we don't need investments. So it depends as an entrepreneur where you want to head to. What's your end goal? It is about making money. Yes, we all have to make money. But what's your end goal? Are you looking at generation of jobs? Are you looking at generation of employments? Are you looking at creating and revolutionizing the whole industry? So it's you. And most important factor in this is setting up a right team. So, your managing style needs to keep changing depending on different type of people you're going to employ, different type of people you're going to have it. So can you have that collaboration? Are you ready for, get into that collaboration? So these certain aspects are very important. And that's how an entrepreneur, you'll always find he's very different compared to other people in the room. You would find an entrepreneur is ready to talk. You would find an entrepreneur is ready to mingle. Yes, there are people who talk less, but at the same time, when they speak, you're going to listen to them. So, these traits are very important. And the most important is keep your mind open. Always think like a cadet. It's day one every day when you enter your office, when you sit on that chair or you're on the field. I think that's where it is. So, be ready to learn. Things will fall in place. Thank you, sir, from my end.
Thank you, sir. Sarin sir, some of the questions have started coming in the chat box.
Yes, sir.
I just pick up, sir.
Yes, sir.
I request all of you to please write your questions in the chat box. We can pick up and we can direct it to the honorable speakers here. I
Yes.
think one question I see towards the end of it is Captain Alex Anthony has put in a question. I think it is to Captain Sekhar, sir. IIT Madras had in late 90s had developed the wave energy and had installed a plant near Trivandrum. Is your plant also on the similar platform, sir?
Okay. Let me try to answer that. Yes, they tried something. Personally, that's not my favorite, although that's been used abroad. That's not my favorite design for certain reasons. In principle, I don't agree with the design much. We had made our own design, and let me put it like this. I can explain. I think all of you will understand very quickly. You have maybe 50 different ways of converting. You put something on the water, it will go up and down with the waves. It's not harmonic, it's not the same wavelength, it's confused waves, but whatever you put, boat, anything, that will go up and down. How do you convert that to pump a fluid? How do you convert that to rotate a shaft? Any such means, if you do it, you have now a useful form of energy. So what we chose, now, in the main engine of a ship, let's take it a two-stroke engine, you have pistons going up and down. It is turning the crank arm. The piston goes up and down a certain distance. If it goes more or less, it cannot go. It has got to do the same distance up and down. But when you take the waves, you're not getting that same lift. It could be more, less, anything it can be. So we took the approach, instead of a crank pin, just imagine you have the shaft and you have a ratchet spanner that keeps turning it. Each of this float is a ratchet spanner that is turning the shaft in one direction. So whether you get bigger lift or a smaller lift, it doesn't matter. It is adding to the torque in the main shaft. It works well. In the sense, okay, I say that when the wave is coming perpendicular, it's like a piano. All the keys one by one, it will press. Similarly, all the floats will lift up one by one. If it comes from the side, all the float lift up. Can you imagine a main engine, all the cylinders firing at the same instant? You can't have, because you have a crankshaft, the way it is designed. So we have designed it a little differently. And our scaled down prototype worked well. And now the engineering does further, the material, the life cycle, all that keeps improving all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So another question, we do not hear of much innovation coming from India. Why?
Okay. Okay, let me go for that first. This is my thought. Human intelligence is a per capita resource. And we are 1.3 billion of us. And we all have the capability to think through, design, do. But culturally, my personal opinion is we people are too careful with our money. That doesn't help. So many times we would have sat with the friends and had a beer and said, we can do this, we can do that. But very few of us have actually got up and done something to test whether the ideas work. There is a certain journey. So it is culturally, we are like that. And that goes across to the government. It goes to our institutions, across everywhere. So we fail over there. In fact, sometimes we are so cruel, we don't give money to somebody who has developed something new. And then we call it jugaad. That's a very cruel word, according to me. You give that man money, you give him, the same person in the Western world will be given money, say, okay, you can think out of the box. Let me empower you. You are a rare person. And he will come back with a visiting card saying technology development company, and he has got industrial designers, he has got his production facilities, fabricators, and he will do very well. That's a weakness we have in our psyche. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The
There
next
is
question.
one question to Sekhar, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, this technology which you demonstrated for the waste, are you in talks with the ports all over India for commercial application of this one? So I think they would do fantastic, very, very important and very much relevant.
Okay, let me put it like this. We are positioning ourselves as technology developers and less of service providers, because the two things are a little different. You require different psyche. So even in these projects where we have done, we are restricting ourselves to arresting the trash and putting up better technology for that, and then leave it to the local contractors and the corporation to deal with what gets collected, because we bring it up to the riverbank. We are in touch with a very interesting, I'll just share with you, plastic credit. You might have heard like carbon credits. So some of those brokers from US are in touch with us, because what we remove the plastics from the water, they are able to buy off the plastic credit that we can generate. So that's a revenue stream by itself. Ports, as far as ports are concerned, I think the problem, recently one of the ports I visited, which had marine debris problem, and we had this discussion with them, but we have seriously not chased the ports for this marine debris. Perhaps if somebody has got an issue, we will reach out to them and do that. We are now concentrating on, we should be immediately, that we are waiting for the elections to get over. We have discussed with Varanasi, we have discussed with few other cities who wanted UP elections to get over and then go and deploy our barriers there. We have already discussed with them the details, so we should be getting into action for that soon. Incidentally, we are going to list in the BSE MSME exchange, maybe April, May, provided Mr. Putin permits us. And let us see how the situation that time. Yeah, that's our plan broadly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is to Captain Nikunj. What is your future plans and advice to the youngsters?
So I'll add two questions. I really wanted to give an input to what on the earlier question, which
Yes, please.
Capt Sekhar answered, and taking
Yeah.
this forward.
Yeah.
And then our future plans in a three-way is, let's look at some stats. We are part of NASSCOM Deep Tech Club, and there are really good stats which are there right now. So I'll mention it across here. So by 21, since 2011 to 2021, there are more than 25,000 to 26,000 deep tech startups here in the country. The second stat is 40% of per shares of these startups are into B2B model. So they are into business to business models. 50 new unicorns were formed only in 2021 itself. Then when you have startups, then you're looking at institutional investors, right? So you need to have investors if you're doing in a capex business like me and Sekhar, sir. Without them, it's very difficult. So there are more than 750 plus institutional investors here in the country. Now we look at tech startups just founded in 2021 itself is 2,250. So there in our country, just in 2021, 2,250 tech startups were formed. At a CAGR, so the amount of tech startups which are forming in the country is at a CAGR of 39%. So when we talk about innovation, yes, it's happening. I know it's there. And how much are we leveraging, especially on deep tech, is close to 12%. And by 2021, the amount of tech startups have raised money is close to $24.2 billion. Now, if that's the amount of investments coming here in India in tech startups, in software and hardware-based startups, that means the opportunity is very huge. So, if where Sagar Defense is heading across, I would say we want to become a billion-dollar company. We want to be one of a global player in unmanned maritime system technology to cross. We would like to grab close to 20% of the market share in the world. When I say here in India, we have the 100% market. Currently, more than 19 of our vessels are under deployment along with some classified projects which we do for the Indian government for offensive and defensive actions. So that's how it is. Now coming to younger generation, and that is why I gave the, this data across. It's amazing. And you would say that that's crowded, but absolutely not. The environment here in the country is amazing. Indians are being now accepted as a hardware-based organizations also. So yes, we were into a service model where TCS, Wipro, Info became big organizations, but now deep techs are happening here in India. So yes, there are a lot of investors out there, and all young generations who are looking to go deep out there and make a name for yourself, for your family, for the maritime fraternity, this is the time to jump in. Next 10 years is for the Indian market, and it's amazing. There's a huge support from the government of India. Myself and Captain Sekhar, we both are being well benefited by it. So, you know, there is a lot of opportunity there. Please go in. That's all from my end.
Brilliant, Captain Nikunj, brilliant. What are the challenges that you're facing in pursuing this goal?
So the major challenges is when you are in a deep tech startup and when you're a hardware-based startup, capex is the biggest problem. Then comes your subsidy. So you need to find out what in your industry what subsidies are available for you. For example, the land which I took. And we have, so the biggest challenge, especially for capex-oriented startups like us, you need to look at subsidies. You look at opportunities which is there because the products which you are building may not have an immediate demand straight away with the customer. Who are going to be your biggest customer? Our biggest business is B2G right now. It's not even B2B. So can you explore other markets? So you need to be capex-oriented. There has to be a long vision in your team, which you can go across and convince the investors also at times. Because if you have to work in deep tech, you need to have deep pockets. Without them, without that, you're going to be dead in pocket. Parallelly, you have to set up a stream. When you have to have a revenue stream, parallelly, you have to look at low-hanging fruits and go and capture that market. And then work on your main goals. So we feel fun, and where government through grants like TDF, TDB, where Make India 1 and 2, where projects are coming in, still the funding is a big problem. And this is at times it hinders your growth. But as of now, the defense sector has given me a lot of push across in the country. And the world, the geopolitics have also changed. So there has been a huge impetus. So there are investors who are talking to us. So important is, moment if anybody is into a cash capex-based business, they really need to manage their money well. If you can do that, nothing like it. For us, that's the biggest growth challenge. And fortunately, we have been able to move on. So while I speak, we are raising close to 100 crores right now, of which 50% money is already raised, officially committed to us. So you have, but to do that, you need to prove yourself. You need to show across your proof of concepts. You need to show across your revenue model and how you're going to give an return on investment to your investors too. So if you're able to do that, that's absolutely not a problem.
Okay. There's a question from Harshal. He's asking, how are you integrating renewable energy into your technology?
So when it comes to renewable energy, yes, as Captain Sekhar was saying, we've been also working in garbage cleaning. One was that, but then I quit that whole process work. The second thing is, we have been doing vessels which are electrically driven. And these vessels go out at sea for 50, 60 kilometers for over 2 days out there. So these are completely electrically operated. Secondly, at the same time, being in a defense tech, renewable energy is not, when you're looking at, it's not much of an importance. But especially this would be something which will be a lot of importance in the oil and gas. So with ONGC, where we are working in unmanned surface vehicles, which go for trials with them, are completely battery operated. So that is one integration where we are trying to do across with respect to renewable energy.
Okay. You mentioned something about being capex driven. Have you considered having another vertical which is opex driven so that it would balance out your overheads on the capex?
Absolutely, sir. Very well said and a right question. But what happens is, in an R&D organization like us, where we are doing autopilots, command control modules, if we want to have an OPEX driven and you get into a service model where the opportunity is there, but then you get an overhead with respect to people on board. With COVID scenarios kicking in, and currently even the environment has not improved much. So at times you become very skeptical that should you get into it or should you not get into it. So that is the reason why we have taken certain calls that for now, as a robotics organization, we are going to remain like that. The investment what we are raising is, this is where it will go into the OpEx driven purpose, and that is the scalability is what we want to. So our products carrying out bathymetry services, drone services across in the market.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Captain, one more just question to you. This mass application, are you in mass already planning to enter only the defense part of it? And this technology of surface or autonomous, are you also in the process of commercializing it? Like say maybe in the merchant marine applications like underwater inspections or underwater hull cleaning and all that? Or are you only sticking to the defense perspective?
No, absolutely not, sir. We want to enter the complete domain of commercial sector too. And that is what the other day I had messaged Captain Phillips saying that why don't we have something in mass application here in India too? Why don't we have, this is a chamber where I would like to say that we set up a committee for autonomous unmanned marine surface vehicles for cargo vessels. And as India, we should be one of the leaders in it rather than being listening to the European parties out there. And that's what we should do. And that's our goal as Indian, because when we went to Europe, people were shocked that we were the first organization in Rotterdam to be selected as one of the top 10 maritime startups in the world. And when I went there and spoke to them about unmanned systems, they said, coming from India, we don't believe it. So that's what it is. And we halted our operation in Europe and we started doing it here in India. And we proudly say we export techs out of country now. So we want to do it, but the support has to come from the community. The support has to come from the ship managers. If you see a lot of ship managers in Singapore, they're partnering with companies which are based out of Europe. Why not here in India? We have waters on all the three sides, more than 7,600 square kilometer of coastline. Why can't we do it? Why can't we have a testing facility here in Mumbai Harbor or on the Mumbai anchorages? I've been in discussion with the Maharashtra government for a long time, and I'm trying to do something on those lines. I think this is a place where we should do it, and we should form a committee onto it. And we should represent, because we have to be a front leader in this sector for sure in next coming 10 to 15 years down the line.
I have a question coming from one of the Generation Y. And this is from Cadet Chandrakant from IMU Kochi. And he asks a very interesting question. He says, any intern vacancies or opportunities are available with you and the team for undergraduating nautical science cadets, or any ways to join the Sagar Defense Engineering as a novice or whatever?
Absolutely. Opportunities are always there at our place, especially if people who have nautical background, they'll be very close to my heart. So please, they should apply. We keep posting about it on LinkedIn and across. And there are a lot of boats which we could take out for trials, which has to be manned, run, so they could honor their navigation skills too out here. So the opportunity is absolutely there, and they should apply to us.
So to all the cadets, please go on LinkedIn and you can apply. No issues. We have a question.
Captain Philip Matthews, sir, is...
Yes, Captain Philip Matthews, please.
Yeah, first and foremost, heartiest congratulations to Captain Sekhar and Captain Nikunj Parashar for this wonderful, inspirational, motivational, and what should I say, sensational presentation. I'm sure most of the people amongst us sitting today will not get proper sleep. We'll be thinking over and over these presentations, and it is going to, move our brains from the place it is in at present. Congratulations. And Captain Nikunj Parashar, I know him for quite some time, ever since DP World had, presented him sometime long ago, maybe about 7-8 years ago. Sir. And he never stopped to, astound me with what he has achieved. Having said that, I am sure that the Captain B.K. Jha and the court, we have to do something about such inspirational people, especially that they can be role models for the generation coming up, especially the younger generation. though you are all also inspiring us. And the merchant marine has got a lot of applications, Captain Sagar. And only thing is that you probably would not have entered into this field. Robotics is today in the offshore industry in a big way there. And I'm sure other than defense, you will always be there for the merchant navy and continue to inspire people. Congratulations to both of you. And you have really shaken us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
I would like to add one or two things for the younger generation. Are we running out of time, or we have 5 minutes?
Not at all, sir. Not at all. No.
Okay, something I'd like to mention that we in the media today, the success is measured by the unicorns, by the top lines, getting funding. That seems to be the destination. As Nikunj said, it is a fact of life. You need funds. I'm not saying no, but that is not the ultimate aim. Somebody like me, I realized one day that, look, we are talking, but my rivers around my place, the streams are not getting any cleaner. And me as a merchant navy guy who understands the flow and all that, let me give it a shot. And it is a few years from that time, and now we have cleaned in 8 cities we have done. So you can understand each of you have got that kind of potential. If you decide that, look, I'm not going to live with this. My life is going fast. Sitting down, having a beer with friends and criticizing the world is not taking me anywhere. I want to see cleaner rivers around me. This robots for cleaning the crude oil tank was something as a chief officer inside a tank 25 years back, maybe 26 years back, when I was sitting inside, I said, look, this is no way in the 21st century. It was still 21st century that time. I said, this is no way to clean a crude oil tank when you're sending rockets out to the space. There has to be a better way to do it, and I will do it. Now we've got a bandwidth only a couple of years back. Thank you. And I get calls from many overseas players saying that, look, you people are in the technical field and we will give you the technology. Why don't you go and market it in India? My favorite answer to them is, look, what is the technology you're giving us that we don't have here? In India, in weekends, we send out rockets. So please, I will give you technology. You market it in your country. Shall we do that? It doesn't happen. They definitely hang up. They don't take it further. But the point is, we are a very capable nation with very smart thinking people. We loosen the purse strings a little bit, take a little bit of risk. I mean, the Western model, with their over-capitalizing a bad idea, compared to that, we think through many times before we really put money. But there's a lot of capability in the country. And I want to tell the younger generation, don't measure yourself by the top lines. Don't think funding is the destination. Unicorn is the only success story. There's, for every Sachin Tendulkar, there is so many cricketers who have made a good living doing what they like to do. Think about it. Thank you.
Brilliantly said, Captain Sekhar. Brilliantly said. Thank you very much.
Sir, I don't see any more questions in the chat box now, sir.
Because I have been a dreamer right from the time I was a kid, but there was nobody to encourage me in a direction. And today, both these master mariners has tickled something inside me. And it takes some time for me to reconsider what it is. Because I remember when I was 4 years old, I told my brothers, why can't we have a typewriter that types into a TV? We were in Singapore at that time. And they made fun of me for the next 10 years. I stopped thinking. So looking back, I said, okay, I had certain ideas and concepts, which today has sort of, both of you have lit a spark. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have a question from Saleha Zubair.
No, sir, it was by mistake. I raised my hand.
Okay, all right.
So one question to Sekhar sir and Captain Nikunj.
Sir.
Since this talk is on entrepreneurship, just like a sign-off gift to all the youngsters or who are dreaming of being entrepreneurs. suppose the person has a fantastic idea in his own head. See, everybody's ideas are wonderful in their own heads. So, and is not from a business background or from a thing. So, what is the next step you would advise? We will leave it at that.
I would comment on it, sir, first.
Yeah,
It's
go ahead.
Yes, please, sir.
Please.
It's a digital world. It's a fantastic world. Go across to your friends, share your idea, hear them out. The best friends will say कि बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत बढ़िया है, go ahead, do it. Go to some other people and they'll say it's a very bad idea. Look at it. So there are certain business case templates out there. So on a digital, download the business case template and write it down. Look at it. What's your USP you are going to get out of it? How you're trying to get into the market and how you're going to money out of it. This small business case template can really give you a good feeler of your idea. And then look for mentors in the industry. So CMI is a fantastic platform. You'll get mentors, a lot of great mentors out there, and talk to them out. Never be scared to talk. That's very important. So go speak about it. Don't worry if your idea is too easy to be copied, then it's not worth doing it. So go speak about it. And I think that is the most important part, step one in doing it.
I'd like to add to that. When you have an idea, it's like Abdul Kalam said, we all know about it. It's something that doesn't let you sleep. And if it has really captured you, you are going to climb up a vertical wall trying to do that. You cannot do everything without money. But somewhere along the line, I'm sure Captain Nikunj has gone through that phase. He described it. I have gone through that phase. You are going up without support, with only hope by your side. And the society will judge you by the outcome. If you have not succeeded, nobody will know your ideas, things like that. If you succeeded, everybody will know about it. So somewhere along the idea has to take over your mind, and you have to, of course, go and sound out with people, like you said. But at the same time, the idea has to really take over your mind. And that is when you go without getting funding, you go ahead, bootstrap, make it happen. I will tell you, very recently, I had a talk with one gentleman in US who was sitting right in White House. He was some environmental something. And they had a huge budget for cleaning up the ocean and river. And he told me after about 20 minutes of meeting, he said, look, I have had so many people call me for that budget because they had announced it in the media. But you are one guy who has shown me some photographs that you have done something. That is why I'm very keen on funding you. Of course, it was a debt fund. We didn't finally take it because you can't over leverage yourself. But what I'm saying is you have to get off your seat, find a scaled down prototype, do something, let people get confidence when you have produced a prototype that works. The investors get confidence, people around you get confidence. So somewhere along the line, there is a vertical wall that you have to climb. Any entrepreneur would do that. There is no getting away from it. Thanks.
We have Captain Vivekar here if you would like to say something. He's also unmuted. Captain Vivekar, sir?
Well, I've just joined in. I have not heard the previous speeches. All I can say is well done.
Yeah. Captain Malhotra, sir? Okay, that's it.
If we're done with all the questions, then may I request Captain Gyanendra Singh to say the word of thanks.
Sure, sir. Captain Dasin is also now with his video on. We can hear him a little before I.
Sure.
What happened, Gyanendra?
Actually, sir, you are here, so we just wanted to hear 2 words from you.
Actually, thank you very much. I just posted something in the chat. I'm at the Cochin airport now, joining from there. I said these two are the real role models and the heroes. And I think CMI should take up
We read that. Yes, sir.
to showcase their lectures in each and every maritime training institute, as well as the shipping company. And that will be a motivation. I've been interacting with both of them, and the more I hear them, more I talk to them, I get more fascinated and more energized. So this is my take. Really a true vendor entrepreneurship, and a line maybe very close to mariner, but in a different perspective. To talk about Captain Sekhar, he saw the lake getting dirty and took upon himself where he has reached. To talk about Nikunj, he is the first one doing work on the so many autonomous and other things in the Navy, making us proud. So please, this is my suggestion to CMI and all of us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Captain
Thank you very much.
Basin. Captain Basin, sir, you must be having now to think a lot this evening. You have seen a different role of master mariners, which we have never seen. I think in the business development meeting, you have to think, and we must also visit once the Sagar defense, which is nearby, very soon. I think, and also the focus of CMI could possibly shift a little bit from only training manning. It will also now give an impetus to move to, encourage entrepreneurs and also promote entrepreneurs. People amongst us who are doing entrepreneurship, see, we must approach a multidimensional outlook. There are a lot of activities like this going on which we have not entered. Of course, it is that we are all responsible what we are doing, but I think there is a lot more than just what we are at the moment engaged in, and it will mutually help everybody. And we take a holistic view on this. Captain Sekhar and Captain Nikunj, I have been hearing from Captain Kishore about Captain Sekhar for a long time, but never met him. But I am really astounded and I am just blown off. Thank you so much and best wishes to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Another question from Saleha Zubair is, are business case templates similar to business models?
Yes, sir. Almost business case templates are similar to business model. What they can also put across in an easy way is business canvas. So if they search for business canvas for new ideas, that will be really nice.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Well, if no other questions, then we can close the session and may I hand over to Captain Gyanendra Singh for a word of thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. I don't know where to start from. First, I would say before, it's always a protocol to thank all those who are present. But I think before we even start with that, I would say that those who were not present have missed something great. And this will be a worthwhile video to have it on the YouTube for those who have missed to be able to see it later. Going further, first thanking our speakers for today. Within the first 5 minutes when Captain Sekhar started, I had this feeling, and if you may allow me, वो शादी के लिए जाते हैं तो कहते हैं लड़की गोरी भी होनी चाहिए, लंबी भी होनी चाहिए, काम करने वाली भी होनी चाहिए, इज्जत भी करनी चाहिए और साड़ी भी पहननी चाहिए. तो लड़के ने पूछा तो एक लड़की से शादी करेगा या 10 से एक साथ शादी करेगा? And I had the exact feeling when I started, when we all started hearing Captain Sekhar. From pollution control to lake cleanup to oil booms to silt removal to wave energy to crude oil tank washing robots to water fencing perimeters to literal crafts, and then the moon. I thought moon pe bhi kuch kya hoga. And well, it was something to do with navigation, which I fully related because I also do the same, and I have taught my daughters about how to look at the moon and make out whether it's manning or waxing or the directions. So thank you so much, Captain Sekhar. It was absolutely brilliant and eye-opening. Would personally like to connect directly also, and as said by so many of us over here, that we would like you people to go to our training institutes and inspire more of the breed like you. I would be ready to be your kind of follower and have you as my mentor. Going on to Captain Parashar, I think I had the honor to share the stage with you once on a CMI seminar, if I'm not mistaken, where you given a similar presentation and I was talking on accident investigation. And since then, I admire you for your grit, for your perseverance, and to make things happen. I am an entrepreneur myself, but you know, most of us, we look up to someone who may hold our hands somewhere. Being very frank, you know, I am good at knowing that, okay, Gyan does a good job, let us give him a push. But hearing both of you, I realized that an entrepreneur is not one who's looking for a push. We have to make things happen ourselves, day and night, whatever, keep working. So really proud of both of you, sir, and it's a pleasure. It was a great pleasure listening to both of you. Going forward, thanks a lot to Captain Serene and to moderate the session. And it was nice, I think, to keep rotating this way. Captain Ambyar was also coming in at times. And this brings in the entire India setup into an event, which was great, I think. And very well done, sir. Thank you so much for taking it up. No thanks are enough. I see, and you are here on my screen, sir. So may I stop? We haven't heard a line from the master, which would not be good. I will stop here, sir. I would request our master, Captain Jha, to speak a couple of words.
Good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I had to attend the two meeting. There was a National Maritime Day Celebration Committee meeting for the 1600 hours. And then there was a wrong link provided. So I went on the wrong way, only 25, 30 people were there. Then we came by the time things started already here. So thank you very much for giving me opportunity. Yes, it is a wonderful, no doubt in that. But I just wonder how many of them are there, like Nikunj and other people. How many are there? How do they get inspiration? It's easy to say that dream in the daytime, not in the nighttime, like Abdul Kalam said. But how do they get inspiration? These two gentlemen should come up more openly and say that this is the way how to convert your dream into a practical or entrepreneurship. So fantastic, superb, no doubt in that. And as Philip said, there's a lot of work on CMMI now. Definitely, I will look into it and try to work towards that. Thank you very much, everybody, all of you. Thank you very, very much for coming, participating, and understanding and taking it forward. Thank you very much. Yes, Gyanendra, you can take it forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It could not have got completed without your words. And I thank you not only for these couple of words that you have spoken, but the leadership that you have in you, which has brought about where CMI is heading now, and we'll be heading much higher. Going ahead, thanks to our Deputy Master, Captain Pradhan, who's, I always say that he's the opening batsman because he takes the first ball when the inning starts. And for every webinar or every event, including the last annual dinner, some special, I think, going on to Captain Basim, who provides energy just by his presence and his smile. Thanks to all the media, including Sailor Today, who has always stood beside us to transmit this live to the larger audience. Today, the audience on the WhatsApp, on the Zoom reached a maximum of 69, if I'm not wrong, though it dwindled down. Probably because of signal issues, nobody could have left this kind of a webinar anywhere halfway. So thanks to all the media, Marex, Sagar Sandesh, and Tribune Vinarkar. Special thanks to our CEO, Captain Shashi, and very ably supported by Sudhir. Like without their hard work to get every nitty-gritty brought in the right way, nothing like this would be possible. And lastly, and most importantly, to all the participants for being so actively participating, writing on the chat box, asking questions. That makes the session lively and worthwhile. So that is it from my side. Thank you so much once again. Look forward to more sessions with both of you, sir, and more such occasions, maybe meeting in person also very soon.
Sure, sir. Look forward to it.
We look forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you. Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Thanks a lot, Captain Gyanendra. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Thank you.